Take a moment and settle in right where you are. We've come into a holy place. So let's settle in, open our minds and our hearts to the presence of infinite love and wisdom. And let's continue with a centering song. You are my hiding place. Open minds, open hearts, deeply connected with ourselves, with God, and each other. This is a special time, a special day, a special place. We let ourselves be here completely, open and receptive to God's infinite love and wisdom. And in that openness, we declare these words of truth together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, absolute goodness. And that presence and power is a source of strength. Welcome from wherever you are, with whatever's going on in your life. You can bring it all in here. This is a place where all things are possible, where all things are welcome, because in this presence and power is a transformational energy that works all things together for good. So we come together in the Unity Church of Chesterland. It's a special place. We have some words that describe some of what we do. Let's declare this together. We are Chesterland Unity, coming alive and making a difference through our deep love of God, ourselves, and all others. Deep love, loving God, self, and others. That's all we need to know. That's all we need to do. And in that affirmation of who we are and what we do, we join together with churches everywhere, with people celebrating Easter, no matter the denomination. We join together with people celebrating spring festivals in Islam and Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism and Shintoism. Because there's only one presence and one power, and many different stories, many different languages that point to it. And we celebrate our own journey together up this mountain of spirit. And it's Easter. Rabbits and eggs. I'm not going to talk about that. There's a lot of different symbols for Easter. You know, it's a spring festival around the world and throughout different cultures. It's a worldwide celebration of new life. In the Christian tradition, it's a celebration of hope and the idea that love wins. God never lets us alone. Life is eternal. The Unity Ministers have a discussion page on Facebook. And over the last 6 weeks or so, there were a lot of questions and a lot of discussions about, what are you going to do for Easter? How do you talk about it? Now, it's not just the Jewish members of the Unity clergy, because there are some Jewish Unity ministers that wouldn't necessarily have much to do with Easter. But there are some ideas about Easter that are weird, that we have a problem with. So there's some elements of the Easter story that are wrong and offensive. like God wanted a sacrifice. A sacrifice was necessary to appease this angry deity because of the disobedience of humanity. Well, that's just wrong. But that's a common thread in the Easter story, in some versions of Christian mythology. There's another one that goes with Easter, is that Jesus had to die as a ransom paid to Satan to release the people that were captured and caught in hell. That's wrong too. There is no supernatural power of evil that has to be appeased or guarded against. There's only one presence and one power, and it's absolute goodness. And so that idea about a ransom paid to free people doesn't work. It's misleading. There's some necessity for freedom, something to free people from the bonds that keep them captured in selfishness and separation and pain, but it doesn't have anything to do with paying off the devil. It is a story about overcoming death. And there are other stories about that, even in the prophet Elijah raised people from the dead. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. Jesus raised Jairus' daughter from the dead. So that theme of being resurrected, raised from the dead, is present in the Hebrew Testament and in the Christian Testament. It's also present in Egyptian and Greek and Middle Eastern and Indian mythology too. Lots of dying and rising deities. It's a common story. And writers often borrow good stories from each other. And this story of death and resurrection is a good one. Now, does that mean that it's not true? I would say that because this theme has taken place in a number of different places throughout human history and throughout different parts of the earth, it points at something that's real. It points at something that's true. So there's this level of truth that is beyond fact. There's a deep spiritual or shared consciousness truth. And the idea of resurrection is true, but it may not take the form that some of the stories have given it. The resurrection of Jesus is not in the earliest Gospels. It's not in the Gospel of Thomas. It's not in the Gospel of Mark in the Bible. The story of the resurrection was added later on when Christianity became the imperial religion of Rome. And the idea was added because the main idea of imperial Christianity, the original Christian nationalism of Rome, was that people were guilty, were sinners, and had to be saved by an alien power that would come in and rescue them. Couldn't do it themselves. And obedience was required. So you can see how that fits in with an authoritarian imperial system. That's not at all what Jesus taught, but that the teachings of Jesus were overlaid with this. And some Christian tribes spend more attention on the teachings of Jesus, some on the teachings about Jesus, about these necessity to overcome sinfulness and guilt, and others are focused on doing on what Jesus said to do. They're almost like different religions under this one umbrella called Christianity. Unity is under that umbrella. Some people would deny it, but as far as I'm concerned, unity was started as a branch of Christianity and remains that. And so we may not talk about salvation, but we talk about new life. There's a lot of times you talk about a caterpillar be transforming into a butterfly, into this thing that lives in swamps that crawls up a stem out of the water, gets dried out and breaks open into a dragonfly, a transformation. We talk about the symbols of our own transformation that's possible, that we claim new life for ourselves, and we celebrate spring. Join with the worldwide, well, not worldwide, Northern Hemisphere celebration of spring. That works, but there's more. There's more depth to be had than just saying butterflies and dragonflies and buds and flowers. There's a deeper transformation that's possible because there's a need for something deeper, because deep within us is some stuff that needs to be transformed. So the story said that Jesus was locked up in a tomb and there was a stone blocking it. So in the past, I've done talks on roll away the stone, come out of that cave. There's a classic unity affirmation. Let's declare this together. I now remove the stone from the tomb and allow the Christ within me to come forth. I rise triumphant, splendid, glorious, and free. So this is claiming the resurrection, claiming that energy that lifts us out of darkness, that connects us with the life, with each other, and with God, to remove the obstacles that would interfere with that. Well, that fits with the book study that we're in the midst of. So the book is called What's in the Way is the Way. What's in the way is the way. So the work is to deal with the stuff that's in the way, that's impeding us, that is obscuring our perception of infinite love and wisdom. And it's all okay. Okay? So this is the basic approach to that. The woman who wrote the book she's a New Thought unity person who's also a psychotherapist and a Buddhist. So there's a Buddhist flavor to this. And there's a deeply spiritual message to it, but she has some different words that she uses. So within us is the kingdom of heaven. She calls it the meadow. There's a meadow that's perfect, that's beautiful, that is inclusive, that's within us. And qualities of the meadow are qualities of the mystical experience that the great spiritual teachers of history have talked about. Light, love, stillness, flow, spaciousness. People that have had an experience of the divine say that there's flow, there's space, there's joy, there's love, there's light. Well, that's a meta. That's present in all of us. It's always there. But there are clouds covering the meadow that obscure our perception of it. And the clouds are the result of stories that we tell ourselves, stories that we're told about what's right and what's wrong, that stories that explain the experience of fear or disconnection or loss. So there's all these stories going on in our minds, all these different voices. Now, this is called the ego, but the ego has different voices, it has different ages. There's this whole new popular psychotherapy system called internal family systems, kind of identifying the different voices and the roles that they have, and separating our connection from those voices. Because the principle is, don't believe everything you think. The mind is powerful, but it's not all-knowing. The mind has a lot of mistaken ideas that grew up out of childhood, that grew out of limited experience, limited understanding. So rather than believing everything we think, the process is to notice what we think, become an observer of what we think, be a witness of the thinker, rather than identifying with the thinker. So the result of that is that we can disconnect these shared misunderstandings that we have just by the fact of being human, that we can disconnect the false assumptions that grew up within us as we grew up out of childhood. We can disconnect those things from our operating system. And usually it's just as simple. It's no more complicated than recognizing, error, that's an error message. That's not true. And many times all we have to do is to observe it and to have an attitude of curiosity. How interesting that is. So that attitude of being curious, being interested, is central in the East Asian spirituality, in Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism. Just notice it. That's interesting, because in noticing it, then the part that notices, the witness, can then decide, I'm not going to think like that anymore. I'm not going to entertain that idea. I might have to say that over and over and over again. It's like, how often do you have to forgive? Over and over and over again. But then, that's really effective. Notice what you want to stop thinking and say, stop it. Go sit down over there. You're not in charge anymore. So that process of being a witness of the thoughts creates a lot of freedom. It frees us up from a lot of garbage, a lot of obstructions of our connection with the meta, our connection with the presence of God. But that's not enough. There are some things within us, some trauma, that just noticing it doesn't disconnect it. There are some pains, some losses that have some deep roots. They may be pains and losses that have been passed on through generations in our family. They may be pains and losses that are present in the culture that we live in, because we live in a dysfunctional time with a lot of pain, injustice, and loss. And just noticing it doesn't make it go away. It makes us question whether or not it really is going to all turn out all right in the end. That's the message of Easter. But sometimes we wonder when we see all the things that have to be made right, all the things that have to be worked together for good. So, injustice, depression, betrayal, deep pain. You have any unresolved stuff? Usually we don't want to look at it. We want to avoid it. Avoiding it doesn't help. Avoiding it makes the pain, makes the darkness deeper. Thinking about it makes it more painful because we make up stories about it. We give attention to it. We resist it. Or we try to run away from it. Or sometimes we get paralyzed by it. Or sometimes we try to avoid it by covering it up with a medicator, and that's the cause of addictive behavior. So if looking at it isn't enough, it may be, if you talk about it and examine it enough, that's the basis of a lot of different forms of therapy, that you can unpack the energy that's there around the abuse or the loss or the injustice. And eventually we go into it. We not only look at it, we go into it and we take it into the heart. Put the mind in the heart. Put the thinking and the awareness of the pain and the injustice and the darkness, we take that into the heart. Take it into the heart. Because in the heart is the presence of love. Love works all things together for good. It's powerful. It is going to create justice and wholeness eventually. It's the power behind resurrection. It's the wholeness that is intended for us and for all of creation. We find that in the heart. In the mind, we find a lot of stuff going on. And so the idea then is to be centered in the heart, centered in the presence of creative possibility, of absolute goodness, and then engage the mind, use the mind as a powerful tool to make a difference and to inform our action. So we take it into the heart, into the depths when our usual resources and usual thinking doesn't work. So here's a model of the way things go. This is a model of a narrative model. It's a model of storytelling that's present in a whole lot of TV shows. We're going along, this is the way it is, and then all of a sudden, oops, something happens. Uh-oh, things start to go bad, and things get worse and worse. And somewhere along the line, as things get worse, there's a little click. There's something that shows up. There's an idea that happens, and people go, And it turns things around, and it all gets resolved in the end. And it's in 22 minutes of a sitcom or a mystery or something. That could be a personal story. I've had a lot of these. It's tempting to tell the story of the oops and the but what's important is the aha. What is it that turned things around? This could be the Easter story. Jesus doing his ministry, and then oops, Romans are upset. The Jewish leadership is upset and turns against him, and crucifixion, death, and then the resurrecting energy of unconditional love. And yeah, okay. So we give up trying to control, okay? Because things happen. Well, let's take with the story of Jesus. And whenever he's down in the darkness, this is a triptych painting of Jesus descending into hell. Now, most denominations have taken that phrase out of the Apostles' Creed. He was crucified, dead, and buried, descended into hell, and on the third day he rose again from the dead. But a lot of churches don't say descended into hell anymore because it's a theological problem. If Jesus descended into hell and opened the gates and freed everybody there, then that, you know what that means? That means that everybody is saved. There's a universal salvation. You don't have to worry about guilt and obedience. Oops. Oh, we don't want to give people the wrong idea. Let's just white out that little phrase there. Well, it makes sense. Jesus descended into hell. He didn't descend into hell. The Christ was always present in hell, in the darkness that people experience. People experience hell disconnected from goodness, disconnected from themselves, from God, from each other, in pain and suffering. But in the midst of that, there is still the Christ presence there. The resurrecting spirit of the Christ is present no matter what's going on, no matter where we are, no matter what we've done. And so that spirit descends into our darkness. And sometimes, somehow, somewhere, we get a aha in the midst of the darkness, and things turn around. We give up trying to control stuff and make things happen and turn it over. We turn it over in the heart. We get out of thinking and into being with the presence of love. Make this journey from head to heart. Okay? A classic unity affirmation about that. Let's declare this together. The resurrecting spirit of the Christ within me fills my mind with wisdom, my body with healing life, and my whole being with love. The resurrecting spirit of the Christ, always there with us, everywhere present, didn't have to descend into hell on that particular day. It's always present, everywhere. How do you connect with that resurrecting spirit? Did you identify with that? everything's going along, things fall apart, and then there's an aha moment whenever it's like, whoo, boy, I'm glad that's over. What was it that turned things around? What was the aha moment? How do you connect with the presence of God? How do you connect with the truth that you know? You have some favorite affirmation or prayers? Is there a particular song that does it? Is there a particular place? Is there a way of being that helps you open your mind and your heart to the kingdom of heaven, for want of a better term? It's happened. You've done it. Remember how you've done it. So how do you connect? Classic prescription from Unity Truth: stop thinking about the problem and think about God instead. That's called the golden key. Don't think about the problem. Think about the quality of the God that solves your problem. If you're having prosperity issues, think about the limitless abundance of God. If you're feeling sick, think about the power of perfect life. If you're having relationship problems, thinking about the activity of love that works all things together for good. Think about God instead of the problem. Then you think about what to do, what to say, who to see. You don't just forget about everything and just think about God all the time. You think about that transition point down in the depths, down in the heart. Put your mind in your heart. How do you do that? Think about what you love. Think about where you love, when you've loved. Think about something, someone, somewhere that you love. And as you think about love, that brings your attention down into your heart. Put your hand onto your heart. And let your chest expand when you inhale. If you're a belly breather, maybe become a chest breather for a minute. Feel your chest open up as you inhale and relax as you exhale. Notice that sensation of your breath, inhaling and exhaling. There in the center of your breath is your heart. So let your mind just focus on that sensation of your breath. Move your attention into that breath awareness from this room this time. And in that breath awareness, there's a center point that is the heart. That's more than the physical organ. It's a spiritual energy center of love that works all things together for good. And now we'll affirm that in song and take that into a time of meditation. Settle into your heart. Move into that dark quietness within you. There's a place of presence and power within you, in your heart. There may be something else in that dark quietness within, something unresolved. something that's been pushed down there. Let it move into your heart space. Whatever pain you have within you, allow it to be embraced and held within that radiant energy of love. Just spend some time in the heart and look around there. Look around for some unfinished business that's out on the fringes there and bring it into that center of divine love. Take a couple minutes now to just be in that heart of love, bringing in every part of your being into that radiant energy. Comfortable, grateful in the silence, in the presence of pure being. No more thought of dark and gloom. Alleluia. Now arise, ascend, shine on. Alleluia. Amen. Centered in this presence and power, we bless this unity community with prosperity. We declare that Chesterland Unity has a lavish, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit. And we bless all of the ways that God's life and love move through us. We bless what we have scheduled today, tomorrow, this week. We bless the giving of our time and our talents. We bless the giving of gifts in support of Chesterland Unity. We bless the giving of gifts in support of family and community. We bless all of the ways in which we give of our time and our talent and our treasure by declaring these words of truth together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful, free, and unlimited. Thank you for your support of this community. I dedicate your gifts to do the work of unconditional love, universal truth, and abundant life. So it is. Amen. We have a lot of cookies and cakes and sweets today. We have some vegetarian and non-vegetarian spaghetti that's in the oven that's going to come out. I don't know what else. Well, there's always something. So stay a while. Next week, I'm going to continue with the What's in the Way is the Way with the next chapter, which is chapter 8. And then in 2 weeks, we have the 50th anniversary celebration of Chesterland Unity. So 50th. It's going to be one day off of 50 years, April 18th, 50 years ago. But it'll be April 19th this year. Yeah, we'll have a party celebrating the first service that was held here, April 18th, 1976. Okay, it was an Easter service. The sun did come out that day. Okay, well, I think they had it outside, didn't they? Well, we're going to have this celebration inside, but we may have something outside too. Okay, and then the week after that, we have the annual membership meeting. So if you haven't been here for a while, and I see some people that are new, welcome, and come and celebrate with us in 2 weeks. We're going to have 3 spiritual leaders that have come up out of this community speaking. Angela Barbati, Diana Ripko, and Donna Van Oosten are going to be taking part in the service that day. This Saturday is the Death Cafe at 11 o'clock. Okay? Just a definite discussion about anything related to transitions, mortality. So it's not a grief support group, but it's an important exercise in looking at and talking about something that we all want to avoid, and to create that avoidance creates some energy. And so this is a good thing. 11 o'clock, Saturday the 11th. And then there's still opportunity to adopt something, a planter, a spot to help maintain. Okay, let me know if you have any interest in that. Okay, so you're going to have a healing circle after the meeting. Okay, all right. All right. We're still in the process of choosing the movie for the last Saturday of the month, but it'll be interesting. Okay? Any other announcements? Okay, we're going to close by forming a circle, standing, connecting with each other, and in that circle, we're going to invite in people that aren't here, family, friends, people in need of prayer. We're inviting in our awareness of everyone and everything with whom we share this time and space. So we've made physical connection with each other. We're going to connect with people around the world throughout time. Friends, neighbors, adversaries, strange people, difficult people. We hold their hands, we connect with their hearts, and maybe mention their names right now. Political leaders. What we can say about that are words of truth that are true for all of us. A prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And there be sun, and let it be. From earth, the peace that was meant to be with God and for to life. We must walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this be one. Let this be our children. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth. Let it be here with you. Amen. Amen. Amen.